Krishna 7, chapter 10, text 46. Ayam tu Brahmanaha kalpaha savikalpaha
udartaha udinihi sadharanaha
sargaha prakrita vaikrita ayam tu brahmana kalpa savikalpa udahritaha vidisadharano yatra sarga prakrita vaikrita ayam tu brahmana kalpa savikalpa udahritaha vidisadharano yatra sarga prakrita vaikrita ayam tu brahmana kalpa savikalpa udahritaha vidisadharano yatra sarga prakrita vaikrita
Ayang tu brahmana kalpa savikalpa udaritaha vidhi sadharano yatra sarga prakrita vaikritaha
Ayam tu brahmana kalpa savikalpa udartaha vidhi sadharano yatra sarga prakrita vaikritaha
Ayam tu brahmana kalpa savikalpa udaritaha vidhi sadhantaro yatra sarga prakriti vaikritaha Ayam tu brahmana kalpa savikalpa udaritaha vidhi sadharano yatra sarga prakrita vaikritaha Ayam tu brahmana kalpa savikalpa udaritaha vidhi sadharano yatra Ayam tu brahmana kalpa savikalpa udaritaha vidhi sadharano yatra sargaha prakrita vaikritaha
Ayam tu brahmana kalpa sarga prakrita vikraha
This process of creation. But Brahmanaha of Brahma, Kalpaha, his one day, Sa Vikalpaha, along with the duration of the universes, Udahritaha, exemplified, Vidhi, regulative principles, Sadharanaha, in summary, Yatra, wherein, Sarga, creation, Prakrita, in the matter of material nature, Vaikrita, disbursement. Translation: the process of creation and annihilation, described in summary herein, is the regulative principle during the duration of Brahma's one day. It is also the regulative principle in the creation of Mahat, in which the material nature is dispersed. Purport.
There are three different types of creation called Mahakalpa, Vikalpa, and Kalpa. In the Mahakalpa, the Lord assumes the first Purusha incarnation as Karano Dakashayi Vishnu, with all the potencies of the Mahat Tattva and the 16 principles of creative matter and instruments. The creative instruments are 11, the ingredients are 5, and all of them are products of Mahat, or materialistic ego. These creations by the Lord in his feature of Karano Dakashayi Vishnu are called Mahakalpa. The creation of Brahma and dispersion of the material ingredients are called Vikalpa. And the creation by Brahma in each of his day of his life is called Kalpa. Therefore, each day of Brahma is called Kalpa, and there are 30 Kalpas in terms of Brahma's days. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 8.17 as follows. Sahasra Yuga Paryantam Maharyad Brahmano Viduhu Ratrim Yuga Sahasrantam Teho Ratra Vido Janaha. In the upper planetary system, the duration of one complete day and night is equal to one complete year of this earth. This is accepted even by the modern scientist and attested by the astronauts. Similarly, in the region of still higher planetary systems, the duration of day and night is still greater than in the heavenly planets. The 4 yugas are calculated in terms of the heavenly calendars, and accordingly are 12,000 years in terms of the heavenly planets. This is called a Divya Yuga, and 1,000 Divya Yugas make one day of Brahma. The creation during the day of Brahma is called Kalpa, and the creation of Brahma is called Vikalpa. When Vikalpas are made possible by the breathing of Mahavishnu, this is called a Mahakalpa. There are regular and systematic cycles of these Mahakalpas, Vikalpas, and Kalpas. In answer to Maharaj Parikshit's question about them, Shukadev Goswami answered in the Prabhasa Kanda of the Skanda Purana. They are as follows. Pratama Shveta Kalpascha Dvitiyo Nilalohitaha Vamadevas Tritiyastu Tato Gathantaro Paraha Rava Panchama Prokta Shashta Prana Iti Smritaha Saptamota Pihat Kalpa Sandarpostama Uchite Sadyota Navama Kalpa Ishano Dashama Smritaha Dhyana Ekadasha Proktas Tata Sarvas Tato Paraha Trayodasha Udasnastu Garudota Chaturdashaha
Komara Panchadasho Gyeya Purnamasi Prajapate Shodasho Narasimhastu Samadhistu Tatoparaha Agneyo Vishnuja Saura Somapalpas Tatoparaha Dvavimso Bhavana Prokta Supuma Iti Chaparaha Vaikuntas Charshtadvat Valikalpas Tatoparaha Saptavimsho Tata Vairagyo Gaurikalpas Tataparaha Maheshwaras Tata Proktas Triparo Yatragatitaha Pritiva Galvasata Chante Yakurur Brahmanasmita.
Therefore, the 30 kalpas of Brahma are 1. Shveta kalpa, 2. Nila Lohita, 3. Vamana Deva, 4. Gathantara, 4. Raurava, 5. Raurava, 6. Prana, 7. Brihat kalpa, 8. Kandarpa, 9. Sadyota, 10. Ishana, 11. Dhyana, 12. Saraswata, 13. Udana, 14. Garuda, 15. Kaurma, 16. Narasingha, 17. Samadhi, 18. Agneya, 19. Vishnuja, 20. Soda, 21. Somakalpa, 22. Bhavana, 23. Supama, 24. Vaikunta, 25. Archesha, 26. Valikalpa, 27. Vairaja, 28. Gauri Kalpa, 29. Maheshwara, 30. Paitre Kalpa. These are Brahma's days only, and he has to live months and years up to 100. So we can just imagine how many creations there are in kalpas only. Then again, there are vikalpas, which are generated by the breathing of Mahavishnu, as stated in the Brahma Samhita. Yasyaika nishvata kalam ataralambya jivanti loma vilaja jagadandanata. The Brahmas live only during the breathing period of Mahavishnu. So the exhaling and inhaling of Vishnu are Mahakalpas, and all these are due to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for no one else is the master of all creations.
Yes, and scientist Carl Sagan has noted this and studied deeply on this. And he says it's the most advanced consideration of space he's ever heard from a religion. No other religion gives any kind of evidence like this, because it shows how it's so important, because it explains exactly how the Lord does things in an organized way. And there is Lord God. And otherwise, it wouldn't be so well organized. It makes perfect sense that after explaining this system, that one would have more faith in God and the idea that there is God. When you find out that God has demigods, 33 million demigods who are helping him manage the universe, he can do everything by himself. But he likes to engage others in doing his work also. And then he engages himself in other pastimes that he prefers, like loving pastimes with his pure devotees. So he gives these engagements to persons like Brahma, souls that are very qualified, who have practiced following the regulative principles of the Vedic teachings for a very long time. If one follows for 100 births perfectly the Varnashram system, he can get the position of Brahma. And having the position of Brahma is quite prestigious. It's the top position that one can get in the material world. And the living entities are ordinary jivas like us. We can also become Brahma. We may have been Brahma in a previous life. That's possible. Or we may become a Brahma if we have that desire. Have to be a good organizer. Very good planner. He's an architect of the whole universe. So this is all real. Real persons are running the universe. And as explained yesterday, the fact that we're not able to see them or understand how these things are going on with our limited sense perception doesn't in any way discount the fact that that's the way it's going on. So we don't judge things by our senses. If we want to get perfect knowledge about something that is beyond our senses, then we have to hear from higher authorities. Just like if you have a grandfather and his great-grandfather and his great-grandfather, they were like this. Well, how will you know what they were like? Those your predecessors. You'll have to hear from someone who knows. Now, if that predecessor, if his grandson spoke to his grandson and explained to him about the predecessor in question, and then that grandson, he spoke to his grandson, and that grandson spoke the same evidence, same information to your grandfather, and your grandfather told you, that is called parampara. They all have to be qualified. They can't make something up. They can't speculate. They can't reject anything based on their limited understanding. They have to accept it as it is, and then they pass it on, and that is how we get knowledge beyond our sense perception. Similarly, we can't know about what's going on all the planets of the universe. In fact, a few years ago, when they had all the so-called evidence, all the materials from the moon visitation, and they lost all the materials, you know that. All the evidence they had was all lost. One day they said, it's gone. So whatever millions and trillions of dollars was put into that so-called, well, now one might wonder why they suddenly just got lost. But anyway, that's what happened. So, how can we say that we know what's going on in the universe? We know there's no one out there. We're alone in the universe. We're sending out our signals, but no one's replying. Maybe they have a different language. Maybe they speak in different language. Maybe they heard our messages and they're not very much interested in speaking with us. Just like there may be so many ants in your room, and they have their language, and they're speaking about you, but you don't hear it. Or that you speak to them, they don't hear it. So this is quite acceptable that there are things beyond our perception, and we can't know them by speculation. We can't know them by direct perception of the senses. If we look at the sun too long, the sun is a very bright thing, and you might say, I'd like to learn about the sun, so I'm going to just concentrate my vision on the sun. You you go blind. Our eyes are not meant to be able to perceive the sun as it is now. We can't do that. Our bodies are not meant like that. There are bodies that can live on the sun. If one has a body that's suited for living on the sun, he can live there. Or if one has a body that's suited for living in the water. We might think, well, no one can live in the water because I can't live in the water. If I go in the water, I drown underwater. But there's fish. There's how many fish in aquatics? Jalaja, 900,000. There's 900 aquatic species in the sea. They're living in water quite nicely. And there are so many living entities living in the earth. They're living. We can't live in the earth. If we try to live in the earth, we'll just die, suffocation. So we can't conclude things based on our own limited perception. I think yesterday was discussed briefly, the frog in the well. Some of you know the example. A frog was living in a well, 3 feet across. It's a medium-sized well. And frogs, they generally don't go to the ocean. You never see frogs at the ocean. But they stay in their well. So it so happened that one frog did go to the ocean, and he came back from the ocean and he came to the well. And he spoke to the frog that was still there. And he told him that I've seen the ocean. You can't imagine how massive the ocean is. It's a body of water. It's just gigantic. And the person in the well, he was a professor. So he said, "Is it bigger than my well?" I said, "Don't be silly. It's millions. It's just beyond imagination how much bigger it is. And is it twice as big as my well? Is it 3 times?" He tried to imagine in relationship to his experience. And of course, it was unsuccessful. So we cannot judge that way by our limited experience how the universe, how the sun is being maintained, how the universe was created. Even the information we have, we don't believe. That's one thing. If someone says, "Well, I've got good intelligence, I can understand the creation," then at least start with what we have on this planet available. This is not all the detailed information. This is just a summary outline for us, because we can't create a universe like this. We can't become Brahman now. Our lifespan doesn't allow it. We can live 100 years. 100 years of our time is very small compared to Brahma's time. As we heard, Brahma's one day, that verse, Sahasra Yuga Paryantam Ahar Yad Brahmano Vidu Ratram Yuga Sahasrantam Teho Ratra Vido Janaha. 1,000 ages taken together equal Brahma's one day. And 1,000 nights equal his night. Or 1,000 cycles equal his night. So that's a day and night for Brahma. And Brahma lives for 100 years of his calculation. That means, so 1,000 ages means the Chatur Yuga. Chatur Yuga means, if you combine the Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga, their times equal 4,300,000 years of our years. That's his one day. No, that's one yuga. It's called a Mahayuga or Chatu Yuga. It's yuga also refers to the smaller part. So if you take 1,000 of those, so 1,000 times 4,300,000 equals how much? 4.3 billion years. That's his one day. And his nighttime is also 4.3 billion years. So 8.6 billion years equals his day and night. And then there's 30 days and nights in a month. So multiply that times 30. It was 8.6 billion times 30. Billion. Okay, so that's his month. And then he lives 12 months in a year. So multiply that times 12. $3,096 billion. Okay, that's his month. No, that's his year. That's his year? And he lives 100 years. 311 trillion years. That's what it comes out. So that's Brahma's one lifetime. And that lifetime is the complete, equals the one complete exhalation of Mahavishnu, Karnadhara Dakashaya Vishnu. He exhales once and inhales, and that's a day, that's the whole life of Brahma. So just imagine, he's been breathing since time, forever, and he's creating all these universes from the Mahatma, the Hat. The Mahat means, or the Pradhan, the total substance of material elements are presented by Vishnu. Brahma can't create those. He cannot create. He's called the secondary creator. He's like an engineer. An engineer doesn't supply the materials for the building. That's up to the owner. The owner says, here's the materials, and then he hires an engineer and says, now I want you to build it like this. So similarly, Vishnu supplies the stock of energy from himself. Only God can do that. And then man, or demigod, or ant, or whatever, they can maneuver it and manipulate it and use it. But they can't supply the ingredients. They have to use the ingredients that he supplies. That's the same thing now. It's always been that way. We cannot create anything new. We can't create any living entities new. We can take living entities that are already existing and we can recycle them. Not we. They're recycled. That's what the whole system of transmigration is. It's recycling of the souls. The souls are transferred from one body to another, from one position to another. Everyone gets a chance to go up and become a very elevated demigod, and then they get a chance to go down and live as microbes. So this is a little outline of how this universe works. And the universe, the material universe, is not nearly as sophisticated as the spiritual universe. Because the spiritual universe has elements that last forever, they're all eternal. The elements here, they don't last forever. They have to be recycled and rejuvenated. But in the spiritual world, there's no such thing as death or disease. So they have technology that's far greater than the material technology. We don't even understand how the material technology can be so sophisticated. How can we expect to understand the spiritual? So anyone who thinks he can try to understand this just by his own imagination, not possible. You have to hear from the authorities and then be qualified. Hare Krishna.
So on this, So this idea of the parampara, hearing from the authorities, this is an important factor, or it's the essential factor in understanding the supreme knowledge. One can understand something by his own observations, but he can't understand the topmost subject matters. So, this is the science of which is discussed in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4. So, and in those verses, it's stated that we just read them yesterday. That Krishna tells Arjuna, "I spoke this knowledge already to the sun god, Vivasvan, and Vivasvan spoke it to his son Ikshvaku, and Ikshvaku, pardon me, maybe Manu, and then Manu spoke it to his son Ikshvaku." So we are also receiving this knowledge in parampara, just as Maharaj has received it from Srila Prabhupada. We are also receiving from him. In one sense, we all receive from Prabhupada, and we receive from Prabhupada directly, but there's also some illumination which comes from hearing from somebody who's been trying to understand Prabhupada for longer than we have. But actually, so we focus on Prabhupada as the preeminent Shiksha Guru for this movement. And it's really essential that we keep him in the center of our lives and say, well, I may want to do it like this, but what would Prabhupada want me to do? And how do we know that? We have to read his books. We have to study him personally. We have to study his words. So in this movement, Prabhupada taught us that principle of devotional service again and again and again and again. And never did he selfishly demand to be worshipped or put in the center himself. But as a principle, he knew how important it is for his disciples to learn the principle of learning from the Acharya or learning from the Guru, surrender to the Guru. Right? So actually, selflessly, he instructed his disciples to worship the spiritual master. And, it's like only he could do it, He had to come to this new culture and basically tell people, you have to accept the bona fide spiritual master. And who was it? Who was the only bona fide spiritual master that they could find? It was him. You know? So how humble does he actually have to be perfectly surrendered to his Guru Maharaj, and at the same time inspire everybody that he met to take himself as a bona fide spiritual master by teaching the principles of devotional service and by acting as a bona fide spiritual master. So that's actually a principle which is discussed in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Lord Chaitanya is glorified that he himself is always acting perfectly in the devotional service, in the line of devotional service, and he's also able to teach that after acting that way himself. So we can see that this is our line, this is our movement. And Lord Nityananda, whose appearance day is today, he is known as Guru. So we say, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Actually, when we say that, we're referring to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda Prabhu. And actually we end the Premadwani prayers after we glorify all the greatest personalities who are bestowing mercy upon us and giving us access to the devotional science. Then we say, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. So this is a very wonderful day to reflect on the importance of surrender or cooperation or harmonization, teamwork, communication, reciprocation, loving exchange with the Guru Parampara or with the Acharyas, specifically focusing on our relationship with Srila Prabhupada. And by focusing on that relationship with Srila Prabhupada, we can get the mercy of Lord Nityananda. We can get the full mercy. And Srila Prabhupada has actually asked us, you please take shelter of these two lords, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda. How do we take shelter of them? By performing devotional service in this tradition, primarily focused upon chanting, dancing, and feasting. This is the Kevala Ananda Kanda, simply blissful path. Right? Maharaj was making a nice point the other day when I was saying, okay, we're going to fast this day, and then we're going to do another fast this day, and then we're going to do another fast that day. And Maharaj said, we're going to feast. So that's actually our process. You know, we're not making advancement by artificially renouncing sense gratification, which we're completely addicted to. One thing is to minimize. That is the instruction. Right? To minimize, but not artificial. Right? So it's an interesting balance between celebration and submission, or it's a joyful process of voluntarily giving up oneself and one's desires for the desires of the Guru, and ultimately for the desires of Krishna. It has to be voluntary, but it's been made so blissful by Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, yes, I heard a lecture one time from His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj, a very special disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and he was describing how we can attain the mercy of Lord Nityananda by performance of this activity or this highest welfare work of spreading Krishna consciousness. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Lord Nityananda and some of his other associates, to go out door to door and talk to people. Go out in the town and speak with them and ask them, please chant the holy name of Krishna. Please worship Krishna. You know? And so one can say, well, they don't even know Krishna, but they do. They've just forgotten him. They've missed him. So if we go out and we share this with people, then we are assisting Lord Nityananda. You know, we are acting as a type of instrument of the instrument of the instrument of the instrument of the instrument of Lord Nityananda. So he can serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is our line, and this is why he's known as Sri Guru, because the Guru is the worshipper, Bhagavan. This is interesting. He is the personality who is representing Krishna by helping everybody serve Krishna, which is Krishna's instruction to everybody. Right? He says, always think of me. Manmana bhava mad bhakto, become my devotee. Right? Worship me, right? And offer your obeisances to me. So these are basically the 4 principles. And Hare Krishna movement is simply for teaching people these things. Worship Krishna, right? Always think of Krishna by practical devotional service, specifically by chanting a minimum number of prescribed rounds and following regulative principles, right? And then staying busy all day for the propagation of this movement. That's how you can always think of Krishna. Then worship Krishna. You know, offer him your love and your service. Offer your obeisances to him. Right? Bow down to the Lord. Bow down before the Lord. Humble oneself before the Lord. Right? And become his devotee. You know, harmonize our will with his will. Devote ourselves. Become determined to always act in according with his order or with his desires. And always be desirous to determine his desires. And we do that, all that, by contacting the person who's already doing it. Simple. It's like whenever we want to do anything, we have to contact the person who's already doing it. You know? So the Guru, right? Those personalities coming in the disciplic succession from Lord Nityananda, they're worshipping. They're following those instructions. They're becoming Krishna's devotee. So, thank you very much. You want to ask something, Prabhu?
I have a question, Prabhu. So, like, okay, you have the 4 defects, and then, so we have to accept a superior authority of knowledge. And most people, they accept, like, I don't know, thermodynamics to be the system of knowledge, that they accept reality. They understand reality through the system. But that system has been infiltrated by those defects anyways. So the knowledge coming there is coming from persons who have those defects and the knowledge has been corrupted, and it's even been acquired from the senses and things like that. But this system of knowledge, the parampara, and the knowledge coming from it is perfect. And so I'm wondering, how exactly is it protected from the defects? You know, because one might say there's a lot of time in between, there's a lot of individuals, there may even be some breaks in the parampara in history. So how do we understand that the parampara is protected against infiltration by those defects?
Yes. Yeah. Well, we have to be very vigilant. This is the desire of the sincere disciple, is to always be in agreement or in accord or in harmony with his Guru Maharaj. You know? So basically what we can understand is man proposes and God disposes. if we want to cheat people, Krishna may let us cheat them. If we want to tell the unadulterated absolute truth as we've heard it, specifically as a service to our Guru Maharaj, to please him under every circumstance, at all times and places, everywhere, eternally, Krishna may just bless us in that way. And that is our prayer. That I can never deviate from my Guru Maharaj. I can never deviate from Srila Prabhupada. That is our prayer. I never want to deviate from Srila Prabhupada, even though I'm so weak and pathetic. And I have a weakness of heart. And at every moment I'm looking for the way to deviate. So we have to pray, we have to become sincere. Sincerity is the trick. Sincerity is the secret to purity. If we are sincere, to be pure, sincerity means we want to be pure. Sincerity means we want to say it as it is. Sincerity means we want to act in the way that is actually pleasing to the Guru and to Krishna. Right? So he may just satisfy that. And that's why the acharyas, they pray, I'm the lowest. My claim is first, because I'm actually so pathetic and low. And you are the most merciful, Lord Chaitanya. So my claim on your mercy is first. You have to give it to me first. So these are all some things. Yes?
The whole system of parampara, it's actually really scientific and like technical, and I don't know so much about it, but there's a whole scientific system for passing on the information. It's not just like, okay, parampara just means he spoke it to him and he spoke it like telephone and then it was preserved, but it's actually a whole advanced system. So just one detail that I remember hearing about, that's the whole purpose of purports or commentaries in the scriptures. So people might say, well, how do you know this is the original Bhagavad Gita? How do you know some verse wasn't added by somebody 500 years ago or somewhere down the line? And so that's the whole purpose of having the commentaries by each of the acharyas throughout time, so you can look at the scripture. So, okay, this was originally spoken by Krishna, and here's everything he said, and here's the commentaries of all the previous acharyas coming in parampara. And if someone were to insert some verse there, then you know it's artificial, it's inserted, because there's no commentary on it. I'm going through this whole thing, and here's what this acharya said, here's what this acharya said, here's what this acharya said. And then we get to this one all of a sudden, and there's no commentary anywhere about it. It doesn't match up with the language that's in the rest of it. So that's one way in which the parampara system actually preserves knowledge through the commentaries of the acharyas in the along with the verses. There's a lot more, but that's just one detail I remember.
Thank you so much, Rishi Prabhu. Yes, Mataji?
I have a question. How should we think about like when we dream of Guru?
You should think yourself fortunate. That's good. It's nice. And then you should take it as inspiration to do, try your best in devotional service. So sometimes Prabhupada had disciples that came to him and told him, I dreamt about this, I dreamt about that. And he said, basically is like, if you're dreaming about devotional service in some way, then that's nice. But the idea is not to somehow or other continue on. Don't, like some people may say, well, I dreamt of this and this happened and I met this person and now I have to go to this country and do this or that. And the guru says, no, but your service is to do this here. Say, no, but I had this dream about you, that you told me to go there. Something like that. So we can't get too intelligent. So those are some things. I liked Rishi's comments about the scientific nature. Basically, the Lord in the heart, He's reciprocating, and He is making sure that things are proper, right? And so we hear from the acharyas, especially in our prayers to the Guru, when we chant to Srila Prabhupada, we're praying that Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Koriya Aikya Arna Koryo Mane Asha. That means the words which come from the lotus mouth of the spiritual master, right? That's my life and soul. So Rishi's point about the purports, it's so valuable. It's so valuable to have the commentaries, right? And it's not that I jump over and I try to understand something which has been given by somebody else before I actually understand what's been given by my guru. This is deep. This is a tendency to jump over the current acharya who's been specifically empowered to communicate the message of Godhead for the people that he is speaking to at this current time. If we were qualified to understand something else by one of the previous acharyas, we may have been born with him. And we may have been one of his associates and been chanting kirtan and doing lectures with him. But by the Lord's arrangement, we've come to Krishna consciousness here and now at this time, right? So then that's the process, is to take it from the current link of the chain. So the purport's incredibly valuable. And, when we write something or when we try to speak something, it's not just whimsical something. It has to be scientifically presented. Prabhupada again and again, he mentioned that sometimes we can say it in our own words, right? From our own experience. But the essence cannot be changed. The meaning cannot be changed. Right? And therefore it's so important to hear. Because how can we speak what my guru is actually saying if I haven't heard sufficiently? Right? But there's another prayer which Rishi Kumar likes to chant, which is about how by the mercy of the Guru, even a dumb person can speak eloquently. Right? And what we can understand is that, or by the mercy of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? So we're receiving our mercy from Lord Chaitanya through the parampara, and by their grace, right, they've opened our eyes. They fill our heart with transcendental knowledge. Right? They destroy our ignorance. So hearing is the key, hearing and submission. Prabhupada mentions that the transference of knowledge is made perfect when the proper teacher is there, meaning somebody coming in parampara who's fully fixed in the devotional service of the Lord, Brahmanishtam, right? And who has been coming in parampara, that Shrotav, this person, that person has to be there, and then the disciple has to be very sincere and submissive and ready to render service. Any type of service, right? That type of Krishna consciousness is different. That type of Krishna consciousness isn't when I want to do it, then I'll do it. Krishna consciousness, to get the knowledge, that type of Krishna consciousness in me, to do it when I don't want to do it and I'm being asked to do it. By who? Not by just anybody. Not by somebody who's trying to get some manipulate me or exploit me by somebody who loves me. Somebody who cares about me more than anybody. Who can care about you more than Srila Prabhupada? How many hours he was sacrificing to explain the devotional science of the Lord in parampara, exactly according to how his teacher gave it to him. How painstakingly he spread this movement and cared for it and tried to protect the principles which protect us from the modes of nature and keep us fully engaged in the Lord's service. How carefully, how painstakingly. You can see there's so many letters. He was personally shaping and molding each individual devotee to be able to carry this on. So many books. He was giving the best of himself in his books, in those purports. He was describing how painstakingly he was trying to explain it in a way which we could get it. Painstakingly. And his Guru Maharaj's books, the language there, I mean, he was a scholar. He was beyond, he was speaking in the English language in such a way, can't even understand what he's saying. And Srila Prabhupada was painstakingly trying to understand, how can I reach the people of this age? How can I reach the people here now in the English language in order to serve my Guru, as a service to my Guru? So again and again, all day, all night, he will actually say, all glories, all credit goes to my Guru Maharaj, who has given me the blessings, who has given me this instruction. And similarly, if we really want the mercy to be able to do wonderful things for this world and to personally, rise out of the muck of material nature, then we have to also have that mood to always be surrendered servant of our Guru and to always be trying to please them at every moment. So these are the types of things that I specifically think about when I think of Lord Nityananda. Right? There's many wonderful pastimes. There's many wonderful ecstatic leelas which Lord Nityananda exhibited while he was here on this earth, planet, manifest in his Vapu form. And we can relish all those in due course of time. But this is the science of devotional service, which is non-different from him, actually, from the way that he lived and the way that he acted, and therefore we, Sri Guru and Gauranga. So, thank you very much for tolerating me. I know I took extra time, and you're all very patient, and to stay in here a little bit. So, we're going to have some events a little later. There may be some special things that we do. So I'll keep you posted. Definitely look for those on the phones. And yeah, there will be a wonderful feast at 1:30. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees.